longer. But when he gonna show up then? See, if nothing else, the political landscape globally, the history of the world globally has taught us nothing else is that no fucking sky daddy is coming to save no motherfucking body. So y'all can miss me with the motherfucking BS. And I don't care who gets offended. Because where was God when babies were being unalived? Where was God when the young girls and boys and women were being trafficked through the Epstein ring? Where is God in what's happening in Sudan, Palestine, Nigeria? Where is your fucking sky daddy? And this is the problem with religion. It keeps you in a perpetual state of delusion, and it's got y'all in a fucking chokehold. There's nothing wrong with believing in a higher power. There's nothing wrong with holding on to hope through said power that you believe in. But at the end of the day, we live in an entirely different realm than that of the spirit.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to start off by giving all praises and blessings to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the elect men who are pushing this truth and all truth, and in sincerity and diligence and vigilance, those men who are risking their lives and livelihoods and producing and pushing this truth, making their life a living sacrifice daily. All right, for this truth. And shalom to the women and children who watch and who learn from these videos as well. And so, it was a matter of time, before, one thing that I saw in this truth, coming in this truth, is that the more we promoted Yahweh Shai, Wa Rakah Kwadash, and the revelation of them being so-called black men, the more that you would have the black woman to let go of her belief in the higher powers. You see, from the late 1400s, okay, up into the 1970s, you could say, or 1960s, well, you could say, most of our people accepted the plantation Christian version of Christianity, okay? One that was neck deep in the belief of a white, so-called white. We know he's not white. We know that they're not white. They're red, okay? Edomite Messiah, okay? Now the whole world over accepted the Messiah, okay, as being a so-called white man, all right? They had no problem with it. All right. There were no jokes made about it. There was no backlash. Okay, about the Cesare Borgia image of the Messiah. Okay, but as soon as the revelation comes out, all right, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kwadash, on down to the elders, okay, uh, uh, like Abba Bivens, all right, King Marsha, all right, High Priest Yaiquab, all right, the apostles, our apostles, all right, Elder Tahar, all right, Gabar, Ka, Ramlab, bishops, men on down, all right. You know, gaining this understanding, okay? So, and now, okay, that this word is spreading, okay? Now you have the so-called black woman, all right, who is coming against the truth, all right? You know, like I said, I when what I saw when you were on the street and you're especially when you're talking to the black woman, she's not enthused, she's not happy when you reveal that the Lord is not a so-called white man. Okay, she has a look on her face of even after she finds out, and she may shake her head in agreement, but it's more of a look of puzzlement of like what do we do now? What now? Okay. You see these women that we talk to in the street, they never came back, returned. They weren't happy, about the message. They didn't come back the next day. These women don't come back, okay, the next day. These women don't they're not enthused. They're not happy to hear this truth. Okay? But you see how they go in with the so-called white Messiah, all right? Caesar Borgia. They've dedicated their lives, their family lives, into promoting that plantation form of Christianity into the minds of their families and children. Okay? But now that that's over, now that that's over, oh no, man. Now they're whores, straight out whores into total witchcraft. And as you see, the woman who was talking, she has on, what would look like some modest apparel, but she has, her box. When you look at the video, she has her box showing. All right, her box is showing, man. The print. All right. Because in their mind, if the Lord is a so-called black man, it's nobody coming to save you. Okay, and this is the sentiment. All right, this is the sentiment. So I'm the, and you have the so-called black men who are also, if the white man is not their daddy, white man is not their daddy, then ain't no, religion is fake. You see all these YouTube characters again popping up, spewing, trying to find cracks, okay, in the scriptures, all right. And the thing is, they try to find cracks in the scriptures, talk about uh, interpretations and things like that, and translations. Well, you can't keep, you can't even, most people can't even keep 5 commandments, okay, and they're worried about some errors in the scriptures, and have a hard time just even adhering to 5 commandments. All right. Okay. And these women don't understand as well. And these people don't understand that the Bible is a book of prophecy. Okay. It's a book of prophecy. And so I'm going to go into a few scriptures. All right. Because this is nothing new. All right. Now, the first instance of this, all right, and this is just what I'm going to start off with, just to show you how these women are. All right. This is Job 2:9. All right. Job 2:9. And, this is when Job was going through his hardest trials. All right. His hardest time. And, Satan was coming against Job. All right. Similar to what's going on now. All right. Satan was controlling and and over appointed to be over Job. And this was the condition that Job was in. But although Job retained his integrity, his wife didn't. Okay. And Job is all of us at this point, all of you men, all right, who are pushing this word according to the doctrine. You're not being PC, okay? You're not trying to water down the scriptures. You're you're suffering. You're becoming that sacrifice for the true word, to be a true light in the world, okay? And the woman doesn't like that because it's not revealed to her, okay? See, anytime the light goes on, you black men, the black woman doesn't like that, okay? Because she has been programmed through television, all right? Through plantation Christianity. That's the way that the family structure has been structured. Through plantation Christianity, it's been solidified that you so-called black men will be looked at as clowns and buffoons, all right? Someone to be walked over, used and abused, doesn't know what he's talking about, okay? Because their white daddy, okay, could come in anytime, all right? So this is Job 2:9. It says, then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thy integrity? She's asking him a question. Then she went on to say, curse God and die. Okay? So this was the advice that Job's wife had given him. All right. When she saw him going through all the hell that he was going through. Okay. And that's what this woman is in turn saying. All right. She's not alone. Men say it. All right. As well. And so that's prophecy. Okay. Let me get another scripture. All right. And you can read that account. Go back and read the whole account. All right. And another scripture. All right, I hate when this one app doesn't find the scripture, but this is Micah 7:10. All right, Micah 7:10, and you can read the whole account. All right, so this is a future prophecy that will take place. All right, it says, "Then she that is mine enemy shall see it." Okay, let me see if I can. I'm gonna start off at verse 9. It says, "I will bear the indignation of the Lord because I have sinned against him, until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me." All right. And that's what we're doing. We're enduring hardness right now as a good soldier of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right. And the hardness comes in the form of looking like the Lord, it's not there. Okay. We can't, when he intercedes, okay, we really don't extinguish it, but we understand through the Rakah Kodash that it's him in certain instances. All right. But see, a woman doesn't perceive this. Okay. You know, uh, and certain men, they don't perceive this. All right. But we get it. We see it. All right. These people ask, where was God? Well, guess what? You had the worst form, and I'm going to get back to the scripture. You had the worst form of man on earth to come and take you. Okay, you were stolen from one continent and brought to another. Your land was stolen. Okay, by murderous thieves. You see, when you watch CNN, you see these wars. Okay, the length that these people will go through to steal resources. Okay, they go through great lengths. Okay, there's loss of lives when these people decide to steal. We endured slavery, okay, and came out of slavery of this man, the so-called white man. All right, and we're still here today. We're still here today. So much though that you had a civil war, okay, a civil war in which you know really both sides of the Civil War wanted to do away with you so-called Negroes, man. They wanted to annihilate you. When you look at it at the records, okay, you survived that. And then after slavery, you didn't you forget. See, this black woman, man, she has ADHD, okay, short memory loss. Okay, right after slavery, when we were let go, all right, from the plantation, we suffered economic loss, strangulation through Jim Crow, okay, through Jim Crow. And then after that, more and more sufferings. And guess what? We are still here, okay? Though not everyone is here mentally, okay? Everyone's not here mentally and spiritually. But hey, the scripture says a remnant will be saved. You see, it's prophecy. It's prophecy. So back to Micah, back in the scriptures now. Okay, we're dealing with prophecy. This is Micah 7:9, and it says, "I will bear the indignation of the Lord because I have sinned against him." Okay, until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me. He will bring me forth to the light. And what's the light? This knowledge. We've come to this knowledge, all right? And then, we will be a light unto the world. And see, the black woman don't want the black man in the spotlight. Okay, there's always a jealousy running with Eve going back to the garden where she feels that she needs to be, in position over Adam, all right, or neck and neck, okay, but that's about to come to an end. It says, and I shall behold his righteousness, okay, so we're going to see the kingdom, Lord willing. We are of the elect. It says, verse 10 says, then she that is mine enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her which said unto me, where is the Lord thy God? Okay? And she's gonna have so much shame that guess what, man? Hey, we're going to be allowed, that she's gonna come to the realization that look, she can't even handle a man like us. Okay? And she's not gonna be in your business, in your face anymore, jeopardizing your peace. Okay? And then that's where, those 7 women that will take hold of one man are going to come into play. All right. Because as it is now, man, you have a lot of these men, man. They're turning to other men. AI is on the rise. Okay. These women, they're no matter how they look, they're selling their body. So access to the box is nothing. You see, these girls are selling themselves at a younger age. Okay. Nothing. Nothing is a treasure. Nothing is worth having. Okay. You get that box, man, and hey, people say, "Oh man, you paying for something?" And now in some instances, it may be good to pay up ahead, man. Okay, versus getting into a relationship. Can you imagine getting into a relationship, never getting the box from these women? Okay, and then you spend money on on whining and dining these women, getting them maintenance, getting their hair done, their nails done. All right, shows and dinners. You know how much money you're running out of? You're gonna be out of. You're living with these babies. You have a baby, okay, with one of these women, and they've laid down with countless numbers of men. And now you're forced to pay rent with her. And you say something wrong, she leaves. Now you're paying child support for, you know. So thank Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man, that you're not really in the trap. Now we complain because we know that there's a better way, but it's just not there yet, man. Okay, and we're seeing uh, humanity, slide. Okay, so reading on, it says, "Her which said unto me, Where is the Lord thy God? Okay, mine eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the streets." All right. And so when you're going through the streets and you're stepping on them, that's how you're going to be doing these. That's how these women are going to be. And that's how they are now, man. Okay. That's how they are now. More and more of them are, selling themselves, man. They're tired. They're saying, look, we're not settling for just one man. We have a roster. Okay. Ain't no God. All that stuff, y'all, all them scriptures y'all quoting, that's fake. Okay. That's what these women are saying. A lot of them are not saying it out loud. Okay. One second. One second. All right, this is Psalms 53:1. To the chief musician upon Mahalath Mashal, a psalm of David. Okay. The fool have said in his heart, there is no God. Okay. Now, it's one thing, to say in your mind, to go to, for, these bodies are weak flesh. All right. And, in your mind, as the scripture, roughly paraphrasing the scripture where it says, it's not that which goes into the mouth, but that which comes out of the mouth that defileth a man. All right. So when you say it in your mind, okay, you are a fool. Okay. But the person like this woman, okay, who, who sends it out her mouth again, who puts it out, who teaches that. Okay. So reading again, to the chief musician upon Mahathala, Mashko, a psalm of David. The fool have said in his heart, there is no God. Corrupt are they and have done abominable iniquity. All right. They're only saying that because they have, look, like I said, this woman showing her box in this, oh my goodness. She's showing her box in this video. She wants to, show her box, and that's what these women have abused themselves over much liberty, over having too much liberty under Esau, Edom. They have abused their bodies, and now they're basically worthless. You're getting women that are worthless by the age of 30 years old because they've laid down with too many men. Now, no man is going to see value and worth in that type of woman. And when hard times fall on that woman, she's going to be like the mire in the street. She's going to be discarded. And she's going to get tired of going from man to man. Okay? And ultimately, it does what? It drives these women insane. And it's because they are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. Okay? So she's saying that, there is no God because she has done some overly fucked up things in her life that has resulted, you know, she has that wig on, no doubt, under that she's totally bald head. I was with this chick today, man. All right. It looked good. It looked gooder than all outdoors, Then I grabbed her by her hair, man, and it popped off, and I said, whoa. I didn't really want to, but I, it said it in my mind, man. She was totally bald headed, man, on the side, man, totally bald headed. Okay. And that's just, that's just, that. Okay. Over much liberty, these women have destroyed themselves, and they've spawned men and laid down with men who, they can't find a man. Okay. And the man, likewise, he, has done abominable things. A lot of these men are into, adultery, adultery, doing all kind of debauchery with women. Okay, freaked out men. You got freaked out men, man. Okay, and a man is supposed to, but just all 24/7 freaked out, man. That's a weak individual. That type of individual, he's not fit for even military use. Okay. You can't go into a battle and you're thinking about some box or just like the movie Dead Presidents. All right, when you see when when they were talking about the wars, like, hey man, I don't think about that family shit, man. They back home. I'm here. Okay. So now the war has come to us. Okay. And this is what the battle looks like. Okay. Your woman if she's against the Lord, you better believe that she's against you. But you still holding on. Okay. Like, what's this guy name? I keep holding on. Something red. I forgot his name. All right. And we do. All right. We do. For the most part. But that's it. That's all. You know, uh this is gonna come out more and more, and then you have the woman here who is in agreement. Okay, she's got with the wrong men, all right, her whole life, and now she's older, and now the men that lied to her and dragged her on for her looks her whole life, now the vintage has failed, and now she's salty. She's salty at men. She's salty at well doing. Okay, she's made those mistakes, and now she's upset and vengeful and making decisions without thinking. All right, because that's how they've been used to behaving since they were in their teens, and men let them get away with it because because of the way that they looked. Okay, and they carry that behavior into adulthood and ultimately into old age, to where they're the grandmothers, and teaching the children bullshit. There's no God and this and that. Don't respect no man, and all of that. So, Lord willing, you will edify. Till next time, Shalom.